The opportunity for students and members of law enforcement to be in a space together, to talk about their experiences with the intention of really learning from one another, never happens. I was riveted by the opportunity from the very beginning.
We were really excited to work with North Penn School District, which is in Montgomery County, a suburb of Philadelphia. Their students don't often interact with police officers, and they have police officers on campus. And there's often this disconnect. And so they saw this as an opportunity to bring together groups that don't often connect. You could see the police in uniform on one side of the room catching up with each other. You could see the students and their parents on the other side of the room.
I felt kind of anxious because I didn't really know what was going to happen. And I didn't know if I would be able to talk about what we were going to talk about. That also kind of tied into how I usually feel around cops, and I usually feel anxious and nervous.
As soon as they started to share tables with each other and start to get to know each other, you saw folks start to open up, which is exactly what you want to see in the early sessions of a gathering.
And so after that, I felt more comfortable, and I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. I'll be able to do this.
I go into the event feeling nervous, and then there was so much vulnerability in that space, and I walked away feeling wonderful.
We worked with a local facilitator, Devon Jackson, who had experience bridging divides between police and communities.
Conversation is about questions, and conversation is about just opening yourself up to hearing what the other person has to say at the same time while you're saying what you need to say.
How does your identity affect your decision making? You had to be more critical of yourself, and you had to acknowledge the bias that came with that.
We learned tonight that if you take the time to talk, you're not as different as perceived.
There wasn't really, I would say, any extremes on either side, which was kind of refreshing.
Listening to the young people speak when they were in the center, well, right to my core.
You can see that they went to this moment of, oh, I never thought about it that way.
Everyone learned something in these 2 sessions.
A lot of kids won't get to talk to the cops like this, so I felt happy that I was able to be a part of it.
Coming into this, what I really hope for is to understand everyone's perspectives, but also eventually end up seeing some changes.
I continue to be really encouraged that these leaders in the district are keeping up these conversations. And so the police chiefs, the North Penn School District leaders are having these conversations now about how can they do more.
I would hope that we would have more events like this, larger events. I would hope it would happen in other school districts, other public forums, and making some people uncomfortable. I want to be uncomfortable. That's what keeps life worth living.
If we could create opportunities for law enforcement and for students who've had some struggles to really break down some barriers, that for me would be a big win.
Many of the people who need to be there aren't. So how do we get them there? I wish I could answer that.
I hope the initiative continues to grow, not just in our local area, but nationwide.